benefits is number one, uh, can be programmed for continuous supply. So if you have 1,000 square meters of greenhouse, you don't need to plant 1,000 square meters in one time. Example, you're planting lettuce, you can plant one-fourth of the area, plant this week, and then the other one-fourth will be planted next week, and the other one-fourth will be planted 3 weeks after, and fourth week after. So you will have a weekly harvest of lettuce. And I think that's one of the problem kung bakit laging oversupply ang Baguio during January, because the dry season in Luzon, specifically in Baguio and in Benguet, starts in October or November, and majority of the farmers will plant together on November. That's why lahat ng harvest nila will fall on December and January, kaya nag-oversupply. But I think if majority of the farmers there will have greenhouse where they can plan of planting staggered planting, maybe the whole area is planted every month and they will harvest all year round, then I think better for them, because they will have better prices and they will have supply throughout the year as well. Increase in production, in a sense that the plants will be growing in a very good environment. Walang ulan. They will receive water during the time that they need water. They will have fertilizer from time that they get water. So, and the volume of the plants planted per square meter is high. Say for example, for the melon that you are planting 2.8 plants per square meter, then the production per square meter is higher compared to the one in open field. Less chemicals, in the sense that the structures are covered with plastic. The structure is covered on the sides with nets that no insects can get in. So the chemicals that will be applied is basically for those chemicals, for those pests that went in, which is very minimal as well. Low risk, because you are not prone to overwatering because you don't have problem with rain. Low risk because 80%, it's not totally controlled environment, but I can say that 80% of the environment is being controlled because you don't have rain, you don't have too much infestation, pest infestation, because it's covered. And you can do rain collection, like what we did in the farm. We collect the water from the gutters and put it in a big tank and use it for irrigation. So we are not actually pumping too much from the deep well for our water for irrigation, but we use the rain collected water. And at the same time, since we are very particular in the pH of the water that's being irrigated into the drip system, the water coming from the deep well has a pH of about 7.8. That's why before we normally inject acid in order to lower down the pH to a level of 6 or 6.5, which acid is quite expensive. So since we're using the rainwater and the pH is about 6 or 6.5, then we are not actually spending so much on acid in order for us to reduce the pH of the water for irrigation. So basic information in greenhouse selection is, number one, you have the crop requirement. Ano bang crops ang gusto mong itanim? So different crops would require different types of greenhouse. So if you're going to have a fruiting crops, if you're going to have a ground crops like leafy vegetables, then it will have a different type of greenhouse because fruiting crops will require trellising, and this crop is quite heavy and you need to have a more rigid structure, you know, for you to carry the load of the plants. The growth duration, automation and control requirements. Gusto mo ba fully automatic or manual lang? No? Normally, automation and control requirements will be very dependent on the size of the greenhouse. Because if you started having a greenhouse of 1/4 hectare and you will be planting bell pepper, you can have a simple mano-mano irrigation and fertigation. But if you will have like 2 hectares, it's better for you to have a a fully automatic system because the more na manual ang greenhouse operation, the more na may problem na mangyayari. And third one is the plant protection requirement. So say for example, if you're planting bell pepper compared to planting with lettuce, bell pepper actually is very maselan with aphids, mites, no? So you really have to have a very good nettings compared with lettuce that are not hindi gaanong maselan sa mga aphids or mites. So in some cases, we normally use finer holes like 50 mesh if we do with bell peppers or tomato or melons, and we normally use 25 mesh if we plant lettuce. You know, ang problema kasi the finer the nets that you install, mas mainit sa loob kasi ma-restrict yung hangin makapasok sa loob. So the bigger the holes of the nets are better, pero kung problematic ka sa pest mo, better to have a finer holes rather than big holes kasi ang problema sa pest infestation kung medyo malaki ang mga butas ng insect nets. So just to sum it up, no, gusto ko lang ipakita sa inyo, no, according to study, in saan ba to? I think this one is in Israel or in Netherlands. So if you grow, kung magtanim ka ng tomato, in order for you to produce 1 kg of tomato in open field, kailangan mo ng 60 liters of water, no? So kailangan mo ng 60 liters of water in order for you to grow and to have 1 kilo of tomato. If nasa loob ng greenhouse, even without recycling, kailangan mo 22 liters of water in order to produce 1 kilo of tomato. And if you do greenhouse with recycling, meaning recycling is if you do hydroponic system, drip hydroponic system for tomato or bell pepper, you're actually irrigating a bag. Normally we have a grow bags of 10 liters. We plant 2 plants, no, of tomato or bell pepper or melon. And every irrigation, we normally have 15 to 25% drainage, no? So kailangan may drain para ma-wash out yung mga salts. So meaning in one day, if you have irrigated, example, 10,000 liters of water with fertilizer, around 15 to 25% are being washed out lang, no, as drainage. So 15% of 10,000 is about 1,500. So it will be 1,500 liters to 2,500 liters ang tinatapon mo every irrigation. So without recycling, you need 22 liters of water kasi tinatapon mo yung ibang mga tubig. But with greenhouse with recycling, you'll only need around 10 liters of water to irrigate and to produce 1 kg of tomato. And for a very high-tech greenhouse with all the recycling, very sophisticated, you only need 4 liters of water in order for you to produce 1 kg of tomato. So, to sum it up, no, parang kung kulang talaga sa tubig, we can really have technology na makaproduce the same volume with a very less water requirement, no, in order to produce such volume. I think that's it for me. Ma'am?
Ayun, thank you kaayo Sir Alex no sa very comprehensive sharing of drip irrigation technology and nursery management technology. So sir, very insightful ang ato ang topic karon no. It's somehow nagaponder ko kung asa ba ni siya ma-apply diri sa Pilipinas. So, sir, what do you think? Sino kaya dito sa ating bansa yung parang maganda na mag-apply ng drip irrigation at saka mayroong pati na yung pag-nursery, pag-greenhouse, ay, iyon.
I think lahat ng farms needs to have irrigation system. Kasi kung walang irrigation kasi one problem is hindi natin alam kung kailan magdating yung drought. Second is by just comparing a normal days, no, a normal months na meron tayong magandang ulan or meron tayong normal ang water rainfall natin, mas mataas pa rin ang production if we use drip irrigation system. So in general, it's not that saan kaya sa Pilipinas that needs to have irrigation system, but I think lahat ng mga farmers should have irrigation system para mas maganda ang ani, and at the same time no risk during the time na tag-init. Say for example, for a banana plantation, may mga plantations talaga na hindi nag-i-invest ng drip irrigation system and they don't know na, well, hindi nila alam no kung kailan magdating yung drought. But pag dumating yung drought, doon nila ma-remember na kung meron sana silang irrigation system, sana hindi nasira yung farm nila. And yung damage na nangyari is actually much more expensive, mas malaki pa no kung i-compare natin doon sa investment supposedly ng irrigation na dapat ikinabit nila before. Ibig sabihin po is ang damage na nagawa ng drought doon sa farm nila is mas malaki yung nawala sa kanila rather than yung investment cost sana ng irrigation system. And talking about the greenhouse, we actually have talking about the greenhouse, we have few greenhouses now na ginawa natin dito sa Davao, and we're mainly growing bell peppers and we are sending it to Manila. Siguro on average we're sending from my farm, from my partner farm, from my friend's farm. I think we're sending around 2 to 4 tons a week no to Manila. And kahit na magmura ang presyo doon sa Baguio, our buyers from Luzon will never tell us na, Lex, hindi mo na kami magpa-deliver ng bell pepper kasi mura sa Baguio. Because they knew that kahit anong mangyari, whole year round, meron talaga kaming supply kasi naka-greenhouse yung bell peppers namin. So in the end, kahit mura ang bell pepper sa Baguio, they still buy it from us. And kasi alam nila na kung during wala si Baguio, meron pa rin kami. So I think in general, it's not a question of sino ang dapat maglagay. Kailangan na talaga natin ng technologies na ganito.
Thank you, Sir Alex. No, yes. Sanay kasi tayo dito sa Pilipinas na available lang yung water, abunda lang tanan, sir ba? So, hindi ganun ka-advance yung mindset ng mga farmers natin to be prepared, lalo na ngayon na yung challenge ng climate change, El Nino, La Nina is, ano na siya, unpredictable na bumibisita sa atin. So ayun, thank you doon sa mga words of encouragement mo sa pamamagitan ng pagsagot sa mga katanungan ko. So ayun, another question po. Sir, how much is the cost po for drip irrigation? So estimate na lang po natin na may 1 hectare po tayo.
Ang cost ng drip irrigation will actually it's dependent on the type of crops na i-irrigate natin. So just imagine, kung meron kang durian, na ang spacing ng durian mo is 12 by 12, so ang number of dripper lines na magamit mo compare sa, sabihin natin sa vegetables, na ang spacing mo is every 0.7, so mas mahal talaga ang sa vegetables, no? So I think mas maganda kung mas specific yung tanong kung ano ang crops. So, pero just to have a sample costing, like for durian, we are actually, ang cost is between 90 to 120,000 per hectare for durian. For vegetables, it can go from 150 to 200,000 pesos per hectare ang cost ng irrigation system.
Yes, sir. Kasi importante din sa mga farmers natin na malaman nila yung cost ng ng pagpapa-install kasi po alam mo naman hindi ganoon kayaman yung karamihan sa mga mga farmers natin. Nangungutang lang din para makapag doon sa farm nila. So, thank you, sir. So, another question is, pwede po ba sa rice yung drip irrigation? Kasi nakikita po natin na yung rice ay isa sa mga commodity na nangangailangan ng maraming amount ng water.
Actually, meron na kaming trial sa Pisao, no? Pampanga State University. And actually, sa tanong mo, yes, no? Pwede ang drip irrigation sa rice, pero kung tingnan mo talaga, ang irrigation system kasi is expensive, while ang rice belongs to hindi siya ganun ka high value crop. No, so ang magiging result is if actually you're looking into a ROI for drip irrigation in rice, medyo matagal talaga. Pero siguro tingnan natin sa ibang aspeto, instead of talking about, dalawa kasi ang rice. Ang rice is number 1, lowland, which is mga non-aerobic rice, at saka meron tayong highland na yung mga aerobic rice. So kung kulang talaga tayo sa rice, hindi na natin kailangan i-irrigate ang lowland kasi meron naman tayong irrigation system, which is the flood irrigation. Ang tingnan na lang siguro natin is to irrigate yung sa mga upland rice. So not really talking on the ROI, but I think by just producing rice from the lands that we don't have production, I think magandang reason na yon para mag-invest ang government ng rice, ng irrigation for rice.
Ayun. So, ayun. For on consumption, no?
Yes, for consumption.
Food sustainability ng sariling pamilya, pwede siya. Lalo na yung mga nasa uplands area natin. No? Upland rice. So, ayun, I guess that ito na din po yung katanungan ni Sir J.R. Saya, no? Kasi yung tanong niya ay, pwede ba ang hydroponic natin sa rice? Is that the same, sir?
Hindi ko masagot kasi hindi pa ako nakapag-try ng hydroponics, but I think before going into a more sophisticated technology in growing rice, I think start muna tayo sa drip.
Yun na din po.
Oo.
So ayun sir, mas ideal din pala sa high value crops itong drip irrigation. So
Kasi mahal
okay din
siya.
pala ito siya sir sa mga annual crops, no?
Yes,
Ganina
yes.
nabigay mo na example yung sugarcane, yung ganun. Lalo na sa mga area na nasa upper grounds. Additional tanong is, paano po yung recycling irrigation, sir? So, nami-mention nyo kanina yung recycling irrigation.
Actually, that's normally happen. No? That's normally being done in hydroponics inside the greenhouse. So yung bugs, yung grow bags na tinatamnan ng either melon, bell pepper, or tomato, or any other crops, is nakasalod siya sa isang, ang tawag namin drainage trough, no, nakasalod siya doon. Tapos lahat ng excess water is being collected at the end of the drainage trough. Tapos papunta doon sa, siguro may maliit na reservoir doon sa labas ng greenhouse. So ang problema lang is if you're going to recirculate the water, example, tanim ka ng melon or tanim ka ng tomato o tanim ka ng bell pepper, pag i-recirculate mo yan kaagad-agad, ang problema niyan is may tendency na may sakit yung isang tomato mo na magiging mahawa lahat ng tanim. So
Sanhi.
if you want to recycle the water doon sa mismong tanim sa loob ng greenhouse, kailangan mo munang i-treat ang tubig. So kailangan mo siyang i-disinfect para mamatay lahat ng mga bacteria or fungus, para kung may sakit man yung tubig na na-drain, hindi mahawa yung ibang tanim sa loob ng greenhouse. Pero in general, instead na i-disinfect natin, we can still utilize doon sa drain water para i-irrigate natin sa other crops. Just make sure na ibang family. So example, melon sa loob ng greenhouse, yung drain water mo, pwede mo siyang i-irrigate for lettuce, irrigate mo sa kangkong, o i-irrigate mo sa other crops. Kasi meron pa yung fertilizer na available.
Ayun. So, isa din yun sa strategy na para hindi takudanay o yung mga sakit, no?
Hindi
yung
mahawa.
pag-recycle. Sir,
Yes.
may rest period po ba sa greenhouse?
Actually, mas maganda talaga na may rest period sa greenhouse, pero in general hindi na talaga nagre-rest, no? Kasi the reason kung bakit naka-grow bags sa loob ng greenhouse is kung doon ka kasi magtanim sa soil, sa loob ng greenhouse, tapos nag-soil ka, tapos magtanim ka ng, example, bell pepper after bell pepper after bell pepper after bell pepper. So kung sa soil ka nagtanim niyan, ang tendency is merong mga soil-borne disease. So kung sa soil ka nagtanim, kailangan mo talaga mag-rest. Kailangan mo mag-crop rotation. Pero dahil ang tanim natin is nakatanim siya sa grow bags, which is after one or two croppings, palitan mo yung media mo sa loob ng grow bags. So walang problem on soil-borne disease. Kaya lang, in some cases, kailangan mong i-break yung cycle ng mga itlog ng aphids, mites na nandun sa greenhouse. So, pwede ka mag-rest siguro mga 30 days. Pero for siguro 3 straight na cropping, and then rest ka for 30 days. So, at least makarest. But actually, from the time that you harvest, and then i-clear mo yung the whole greenhouse, magbagging ka, it takes mga 1 month din eh.
Charger sa phone.
So parang rest na rin yun.
Thank you, Sir Alex. Isa din yung tanong, yung grow bags natin, sir, is paano po siya, ordinary soil lang po ba yung grow bags natin or may soil formula po tayo? Mixtures.
Kung nag-grow bags ka, although may mga kaibigan ako na nag-grow bag, soil pa rin ang gamit. Pero sa amin kasi, we use coco peat, no? So dati ang mixture ko dati is 70% coco peat and 70% coco peat and 30% cocoa chips. Pero ngayon, binaliktad namin. Ginawa naming 30% cocoa peat and 70% cocoa chips. So it's kuan siya, mas loose siya, mas maganda ang aeration. Kaya lang ang problema, hindi siya nakaka-hold ng so much moisture
Moisture.
o tubig. So kailangan namin mag-irrigate at least 10 times a day.
Ayun. Added on, sir, yung pag-i-irrigate nyo po, sir, is ano po siya, mechanized through fuel or through kuryente?
Merong pump using electricity.
Kuryente, electricity. So, hindi naman
Yeah.
po ganun kagasto, sir.
Hindi naman. Unlike with the kanang sa NFT hydroponics, yung sa lettuce, kasi ang sa lettuce kasi, we have two farms no sa lettuce. No? We have Highland in Carmen, Baguio District, which around 1,100 meters above sea level. Meron din kami sa Turil, yung napuntahan ng taga ATI, na around 200 meters above sea level. So mainit talaga. Kaya yan yung problema. Kung nasa lowland ka, especially for example for NFT hydroponics, kailangan na ang tubig sa yung tubig mo na nagre-recirculate doon sa NFT hydroponics, dapat hindi mataas ang temperature. Target namin sana 26 degrees Celsius maximum. So, para ma-meet namin yung desired na temperature ng tubig, kailangan namin maglagay ng chiller. So, yun yung malaki ang gastos sa chiller. Pero doon sa pump mismo, malit lang ang gastos. Doon sa chiller ang pinakamalaki gastos. So, what we did is, kasi kailangan man talaga namin maglagay ng chiller. So, ang ginawa namin is, we set up solar panels, about 22.5 kilowatts. So, before installing solar panels, ang monthly namin na bill sa kuryente is about 60,000 plus per month. So, after the solar panel installed, half of the cost nawala, no? Wala. Pero doon sa Highland na farm na hindi kailangan ng chiller kasi malamig ang tubig. So malit lang talaga ang gastos for kuryente.